I personally find it extremely important to diversify my knowledge of Valorant by playing different agents. So for 15 days, I set out to play an agent I had hardly ever played before, Sage. The goal was learning more about her playstyle so I could learn how to play against her in the future, and learn what it was like playing a very slow-paced character. Sage is best known as Valorant's primary combat medic. She can heal teammates, revive them with her ultimate, and specializes in slowing down opponents with her wall and slow orbs. Her kit is relatively straightforward, and doesn't require all that much thinking, but can also leave her somewhat helpless in a gunfight if played incorrectly. No, switch guns! Switch gun! I'm trying to! It wouldn't let me! She lacks a movement ability like Jet or Chamber, and doesn't have smokes to hide in like a controller, or flashes to cover her movement like an initiator. This makes her playstyle slow. She specializes in a support role and plays with the team. Her main goal is to mess with her opponents, which is something I learned quickly while playing her. Her entire kit is based upon essentially messing with your opponent's perception of the game. You can slow them down with walls and orbs, making it difficult to execute onto sight, or you can turn towards healing and reviving teammates, throwing the balance back into your favor as your teammates slowly recover health or respawn. However, most of the time she has to rely on her teammates to play a heavy support role. And while that's good and all, it can also be boring, at least for a Platinum 3 idiot like me with 2 brain cells. Thankfully, there's another side to Sage, one where combat precedes healing and stalling opponents is traded for aggression. If you haven't caught on yet, what I'm talking about is Grim Walls, and the main reason I decided to main Sage for 15 days in the first place. Grim Walls are walls thrown up by Sage pioneered by this guy, Grim. A player far better than myself. The sole purpose of these walls is giving you some kind of weird and completely unexpected off angle, so you can get a free shot off on your opponents. I wanted to try this because it was unique, something to increase my skill set in, and maybe something I could use in future games. To be honest, I wasn't sure what to expect from this. For months I'd played the game in what most people would call the default way, using utility as it was originally intended, and not trying to be too unique or flashy. Oh no, bitch.
What? Yes. Yes. Yes.
This was really a first for me. The first time I've ever tried using utility in a way that deviates from normal, but I was excited and interested in how this would affect my games. The first game I queued up on was Bind, which is a map that I had studied, and I had some decent knowledge on Grim Walls. I used my walls to some effect, getting a few kills and generally proving to be a thorn in my opponent's side, keeping them guessing as to where I would be. Eventually though, the other team started to predict my strategy, and would try their best to flush me out for my positions before entering a site. And while this was annoying for me, who wanted to be stupid and get easy kills, it was a good thing. I was forcing the opposing team to use their utility early, and if they wanted to deal with me, I was certainly making it expensive. This damaging method of forcing the other team to use utility early really hurt their economy, and they often weren't able to buy guns. The result was a solid victory in our favor. An important thing I learned in this Bind matchup is that you shouldn't always play the game entirely seriously.
No,
I have
40.
like 2 health.
It's fine. Live on.
No!
No. Victory.
Sure, if you're sweating it out in ranked, you probably don't want to throw, but it's important to keep something in mind. You're playing this game for fun. At least I hope you are. Having good mental is extremely key to winning games, and if you aren't having fun or in a bad mindset, then you're probably going to be playing worse, making impulsive and dumb decisions, and letting you and your team down. Trying new strategies like Grim Walls, relaxing, and trying to really just gain enjoyment out of the game is a good way to avoid that, and improve your mental. Josh, pop ult and run at them.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh no!
You got f***ing decked. Holy shit.
Keeping what I had learned in mind, I tried to apply it to my games, keeping things lighthearted and trying not to take the game too seriously. There's one window! I killed him. There's another one! After some time, I got a game on Ascent, the map I had practiced the most when it came to Grim Walls, and one where I was confident I could get some kills on. I walked in Sage and was looking forward to messing with my opponents and keeping them guessing as to where I was. I had a pretty good game. The enemy team didn't really have an answer for my walls, and I certainly made them pay for it. Unfortunately, my team wasn't the greatest, and we lost that game. But I managed to have a pretty decent KD despite the circumstances, and I was happy with the kills I got. Playing Sage was something I hadn't really done before. It was interesting to play a pretty unique agent as far as Valorant goes. I felt less pressure to use my utility in critical moments, and overall had a much more chill and laid-back experience while playing. It opened my eyes to a different playstyle, one where you don't care as much about winning or losing, and focus more on just having a decent time. And in many ways, this helped me win more and perform better. Wait, they're smoking me. They're coming me. I killed him!
Spike down B.
They're both there! Yes! Yes! I hesitated and second-guessed myself a lot less, and didn't get nearly as frustrated with deaths or misplays as I normally do. Using weird strategies like grim walls helped a lot, because I was able to simply stop caring about my performance, and was instead able to focus myself on the game rather than my emotion, and that made a difference in my performance. Oh, there is one here. I killed him. At the same time, grim walls seemed to really confuse my opponents. It probably helped that I'm in plat, and most people, including myself, have around 4 brain cells. I got a lot of kills on my walls, and I can certainly say they impacted the game in a meaningful way, and probably caused a nightmare for my opponents. This isn't to say my walls were always good. There were certainly times where my enemy adapted to and overcame the challenge I put in front of them. Oh my god, my aim is so bad. But that's another part of Valorant, adaptability. And it is something that I learned a lot about while doing this due to the way grim walls work. These walls are very unique, but also very specific, and easy to target if your opponent knows to look for them. This can be a double-edged sword, as when you are caught on a wall, you're pretty much screwed, with nowhere to hide. Oh my god, she landed on top of my wall and shot me. This aggressive punishment for failure forced me to adapt, trying varying spots and strategies to try and find something that would work. It also showed me how my enemies adapt and made me really try and think how I could best them with my walls. If they were checking one angle, I would try and set up in a different one, or I would constantly rotate sights and sometimes play mid, or sometimes I would just not throw up a wall and leave them wondering where it could be. I learned how to adapt to my opponent's playstyle and how to play mind games with them and try to throw them off their game. And as I thought about it further, I could recognize how adaptability is so critically important in the bigger picture of the game, not just in somewhat stupid grim walls. Professional Valorant teams constantly adapt to their opponents, always looking for a way to slip past their defenses and take advantage of their weaknesses. I was starting to do this, at least to an extent, and it's something I can definitely carry into ranked in my normal gameplay in the future, even if I don't play Sage, making this experience undeniably valuable. Nice. I need to work on my aim, dude. My whiffed so bad. At this point, I felt confident enough in my ability to try queuing up some ranked games. I was about 40 RR into Platinum 3 at the time, and trying to grind up to Diamond. Unfortunately for me, things didn't go as planned. I tried to take what I learned and transform it into my gameplay. It didn't work, and I had an abysmal first game that netted me minus 20 RR. That's fine, I said to myself. It's my first game. Sometimes bad games happen. I'll just play out of it. My second game did not go much better. I had a similarly terrible time and a miserable KD ratio, and wasn't learning from my mistakes or adapting to play adequately. I was also getting massively outdueled in my gunfights, and my aim was shaky at best. I lost another 20 RR, and was now in my D rank game. I took a moment to breathe. I needed to learn and understand what I was doing wrong here. I thought I'd gotten it figured out, but clearly, I had not. After some thinking and reviewing some replays of gameplay, I learned my final lesson while playing Sage. Patience. As I covered before, Sage lacks any ability to get herself out of a gunfight. If she takes a gunfight, she's either winning it or she's dying. For someone with rather questionable aim like myself, this meant that I needed to get more creative. I couldn't just W key into the other team and expect to win, especially if I was getting out-aimed by my opponents. I needed to be smarter, wait for my enemies to push into me, or, as Yoru likes to say, hit them when they're not looking. I took this philosophy into my game, and this time, it went significantly better. And on defense, I was rather dominant walking down a site. Yes, I have the glowing knife. And I had some pretty decent shots on the attack as well.
One enemy remaining.
Unfortunately, the opponent race was absolutely cracked, and my team had a Phoenix who went 3-20, and we ended up losing, and I D-ranked Platinum 2, now on a 3-game loss streak. I was frustrated. My plan had worked, but I had ultimately failed anyways. Sometimes fate just gets in the way, and my time in Platinum 3 had briefly come to an end. Despite this, I don't regret playing those games. with those teammates or against those opponents. Setbacks like these are critical for learning, and I feel like I learned a lot. A lot about how to put myself in better situations, how to develop a better mindset, and how to play Sage. Of course, I hope I get back to Platinum 3, and eventually Diamond, but setbacks are part of the process, and if it means getting better in the long run, then I'll happily embrace them.
Yes, I'll check it. Doesn't check it.
She's right there! She's right there! She's right in your face! What is she doing? Oh my god! Oh no!
Player?
Oh my god!